and banking. I see a lot of you are already online chatting with each other. I welcome each one of you to this live session. You might have seen me in previous videos on banking and Indian economy and finance and monetary policy and so on and so forth. Yes, my name is G. Venkatakrishnan, popularly known as GVK in the financial services circle. I have more than 4 decades of experience in the banking financial services industry. I used to work for an associate bank of State Bank of Mysore, and then was with the mutual fund industry for a very long time. And then I was also general manager of 2 large insurance companies. Now I'm a complete freelance trainer. And I have great pleasure in interacting with you all this evening. And I see a lot of people are already online. And I welcome all of you to this live session. All of you are free to ask as many questions as possible and as you want in this session. What I've basically done is that I have prepared a question bank of about 30 questions each on banking and current affairs. If it's not possible to discuss all the 30 of them on this program, we will certainly send you the PDF version online. But you can always count on us to send you the PDF version. But what we will do here is to discuss some of the important questions based on the previous year's experience and what we think are important questions in the field of banking and general awareness. And as I said, this session is going to be very, very interactive. It's got to be interactive from both sides. I want you to ask a lot of questions so that I can share my knowledge with you, and in turn, all of us will be benefited. And so I start my presentation with the first set of questions on the banking aspect of it. It's for the SBI PO mains refresher course is the general awareness in banking on the 23rd of May 2017, that is today. I'm going to be setting out questions, and if anyone is willing to answer them, they can do it. Otherwise, I will answer it myself. The first question says, which section of the Banking Regulations Act defines banking? Anyone would like to guess? I can see some names on the screen: Ambuj, Pavani, Kiran. Anybody who wants to guess? Yes, you're right. Rishika Menon is right. 5B of the Banking Regulation Act of 1949 defines banking. 5B is the right answer. 1949 is the year in which it was passed, but I was actually asking for the section. So Section 5B of the Banking Regulation Act of 1949 defines banking as acceptance for the purpose of investments or otherwise, acceptance of money for the purpose of lending, investment or otherwise, deposits from the public repayable on demand or otherwise, and repayable by cash, check, demand draft or otherwise. That is the definition of the banking as defined in Section 5B. Johnny John, you're also right. The Section 5B is the right answer. I do not know, somebody is talking of 1st April 1935. That has got nothing to do with the Banking Regulation Act. When was the Reserve Bank of India established? Any guesses for this question? Probably some of you have already answered it ahead of the question. I do not know whether you are able to see all the questions. That's why you're answering them. The answer is right. Alex is wrong. He said 1955. But Naman Agarwal is right. Tanya is right. It was in the 1st of April, on the 1st of April 1935, that the Reserve Bank of India was established. The next question is on when was SBI formed in the present form? When was SBI formed in the present form, or when was SBI established in the present form? We are not talking of the merger of the associate banks with SBI, but when was it formed? Yes, Naman Agarwal, you're right. SBI was formed in the year 1955 when the Imperial Bank of India was nationalized. Imperial Bank of India itself is an earlier amalgamation of 3 presidency banks, one of which was Bank of Bombay, one of which was Bank of Calcutta, and the other one was Bank of Madras. All the 3 were combined together to form Imperial Bank of India. Imperial Bank of India, somebody said 1965. Harshit, no, you're wrong. 1965 is not the answer. It is 1955. As many of you have rightly said, SBI was formed in the year 1955 when the Imperial Bank of India was formed, when the Imperial Bank of India was nationalized. So now we go on to the next question. In between, I have given you the answers here. In between, if you have got any questions to be asked of me, please go ahead and ask them. I'm waiting for your questions. Let this not be a one-way monologue. Let it be a two-way dialogue between all of us, and we all are here to share our knowledge and share our wisdom. So to that extent, Rudra is asking how many questions we have discussed. I think we've discussed 3 questions. We have discussed 3 questions. And I request all of you not to jump the questions and give your answers straight away, because then it will make the other participants lose interest in the whole program. So let us go question by question. Now the next question is, when were banks nationalized in India? When were banks nationalized in India? A lot of people have given the right answer, and the right answer is 1969. For the first time, the banks were nationalized, followed by 1980. Ambuj is also right. And somebody has asked about personal banking. Venkateju says that, please explain about personal banking. And personal banking is nothing but where the bankers interact personally with their clients. That is what is called personal banking. Personal banking is what is extended for retail customers who are interested in availing of the various services from the banks. It could be that it's of a deposit nature, or it could be of a loan nature, or it could be of a cross-selling of a product. Whatever be that, it should be that is called personal banking. Personal banking is about extending personal services to a retail client. I hope I've satisfied your question, whoever had asked that. What is meant by DICGCI? What is meant by DICGCI? Any answers for this? Anybody would like to guess? Pratik Thalio, you're right. 1969 was the first bank doing this thing. Yes, Naman Agarwal is again right. Naman Agarwal is again right. The Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation of India. That is called, I think nobody has mentioned the word India. I'm talking of DICGCI. Vigneshwari is absolutely right. Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation of India is the right answer. No, but if you miss the word India, then the letter I goes out of the equation. So the right answer is Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation of India. That is the correct word for DICGCI. Is it a subsidiary of RBI? Vigneshwari is asking. I'm sorry, Vigneshwari, it is not a subsidiary of RBI. Although DICGCI was formed by RBI, it's a separate organization. It is not a subsidiary of RBI at all. It is a separate organization founded by RBI. And it is rightly said, as Vignesh said, it is for insurance for bank deposits and for advances. Let us make it very clear that DICGCI guarantees bank deposits to an extent of rupees 1 lakh only. That means if there were to be a run on the bank and the depositors can't get their money back, they will get their money back only to the extent of 1 lakh. Supposing somebody had kept a 10 lakh rupee deposit in a bank and the bank goes bust, the bank will not be able to, the DICGCI will not be able to pay more than 1 lakh to the customers. So that is the answer to your question. The the Credit Guarantee Corporation of India guarantees, it's a kind of an insurance. Somebody said insurance, it's a kind of an insurance for the depositors' money, and they will be able to guarantee only up to a sum of rupees 1 lakh. I request all of you not to jump questions, because then people who are going as per the questions, they will be able to not able to they will not be able to understand. Pratik has asked, does DICGCI issue letter of credit? No, DICGCI is not a lending organization. Issuance of a letter of credit will mean that it becomes a lending organization. DICGCI only guarantees the money. Then why someone will keep his money in this type of bank is asking Rudra Aditya Mohanty. My dear friend Rudra, the DICGCI does not accept deposits. It only guarantees deposits on behalf of other banks. DSCGCI does not accept deposits by itself. Yes, Soumya and Revati Sharma, welcome to this program and good evening to you both. And I hope you'll enjoy this program. So DSCGCI does not accept deposits at all. Please understand that. Thank you, Prateek, for having got my point. And we go on to the next question. What is NABARD? NABARD stands for National Agricultural Bank for National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. Good evening, Anil. What is the role of DSCGCI? Deepak is asking. Just now I explained the role, Deepak. It kind of an insurance for bank deposits. If a bank goes bust, then in insurance for bank deposits, yes, Soumya is right. Insurance for bank deposits, they will insure bank deposits up to a sum of rupees 1 lakh. And National Bank for Agricultural and Rural Development was indeed set up on 12th of July 1982, as Kunal has rightly said. Hitesh is asking, is it like insurance corp for our money? Yes, it is a kind of insurance for our money. DSCGC are not guarantors. Somebody has said DSCGC are guarantors. I'm sorry, DSCGC are not guarantors. They are more in the name of insurers. That is why it's called the Deposit Guarantee Deposit and Credit Guarantee Corporation of India. If it does not accept deposit, then what will DSCGCI do? Asks Sachindra is asking. They will guarantee the deposits on behalf of the respective banks. They will guarantee the deposits, but up to a level of rupees 1 lakh only. And that is why they are called Deposit Insurance Credit Guarantee Corporation of India. Does DSCGCA cover NBFCs? Asked Naman Agarwal. No, NBFC deposits are not covered by DSCGCI. That's the basic difference between bank deposit and an NBFC deposit. Rahul is right. DSCGCI does not cover. It does not cover the NBFC deposits. Soumya Banerjee is asking. I don't know whether she's asking or she's saying it's headed by RBI Deputy Governor. If she's saying that it's headed by RBI Deputy Governor, I'm sorry, it is wrong. The DSCGCI is headed by an executive director who is appointed by RBI. NABARD is the largest lender for banks. Is it correct? Is asking Prateek. No, it is not. NABARD is not lending to banks. NABARD is lending for agricultural development purposes only. Agricultural development purposes only. It is not for lending for banks. It is not for lending for banks. Deposits, agricultural development bank lends for only agricultural purposes. Sir, not looking clearly. I'm sorry, there has to be a technical issue. I will ask my people to look into it. Somebody is saying it's fine. Somebody is saying it's not visible. I'll have to ask my technical people to look into that. I will ask them to look into that. Then what is the difference between DSCGCI and insurance? DSCGCI protects bank depositors only. Insurance is for both insurance is for both life and non-life. Now it is not for insurance is not for depositors only. So that is the difference between DSCGCI and bank and life and general insurance. So we now these are the answers to these questions. When were banks nationalized in India? That the answer is 19 July 1969. DICGCI means Deposit Insurance Credit Guarantee Corporation of India, and NABARD is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. That is about the answers for those questions. And how much of net worth should a private sector bank have at all times? Can anybody answer this question? It's a very interesting question. And can anybody? NABARD was established in 1982, Mr. Dheeraj. We have already seen it was established on the 12th of April 1982. Can anybody guess how much of net worth should a private sector bank have at all times? Is there anybody who wants to answer this question? Yes. 500 crores, 25 lakhs, 2 crores. There are 500 crores. Some people seem to be agreeing on 500 crores. There are a lot of answers coming into this. But I'm afraid none of you is giving the right answer. The answer is 300 crores. 300 crores is the net worth of a private sector bank for it to have a license and continuing with the license. Now that I've given the answers, let us all stop writing out the answers. Somebody was very frank. Pratik says no idea. So Ankit says 500 crores and Kunal 200 crores, Vishal 2,000 crores. My God, private sector banks cannot survive with 2,000 crores capital. The answer is that the net worth of a private sector bank at all times should be 300 crores. The next question is, when were the major recommendations? What were the major recommendations of the Rangarajan committee? This is a very easy question to answer. I'm sure people who have watched my earlier videos on banking have done a lot of videos on banking. If you have watched any of them, especially the ones on banking committee, then you would know what was the major recommendations of the Rangarajan committee. The Rangarajan committee, Mr. Rangarajan, as you know, was the former governor of Reserve Bank of India, and he was asked to form a committee in 1971 to go into. Any guesses? Why has this chat session suddenly turned silent? Nobody is able to guess the answer. There was a video from me some time back. Oh no, measurement of poverty, Mr. Ambud Sharma, you're way off the mark. Technological development, financial sector reforms, monetary policy. Any other guesses? For NABARD, question mark. Kshitij is very clever. He doesn't answer. He's asking me a question back. He's asking for NABARD. Is that the right answer? He's asking. I'm sorry, Kshitij, you are not there. Your answer is not right. The Rangarajan committee went into the scheme of bank mechanization. They recommended bank mechanization. That is the answer for that answer. That is the answer for that question. Financial inclusion, all that is wrong. So the recommendations of the Rangarajan committee were for bank mechanization. It was as a result of the Rangarajan committee that the bank mechanization was formed. And today, whatever you see, Vaishnavi is right. Bank mechanization is the right answer. Whatever you see in the bank is all the result of the recommendations made by Dr. Rangarajan in his committee report. What is the difference between cash credit and term loan? This is a very easy question to answer. I'm sure, again, people who have watched my videos would be able to easily answer this question. Any guesses for this? What is the difference between cash credit and term loan? I'm going to wait for a few seconds to help some of you answer this question. What is the difference between Nayan is saying term loan is repaid in regular payments over a set period of time. Both are business banking loan, but CC is for financial working capital, and loan term can be. Good. I think somebody has answered that question already. I'm not able to see who it is. Yeah, Harshit. He has said that both are banking business banking loan, but CC is for financial working capital, and term loan is for purchasing machines. Can be paid in time period. Although he's 95% right, the difference between cash credit and term loan is that cash credit is for short-term periods, which is for financing working capital, as Harshit rightly said. Well done, Harshit. You deserve a round of applause for this. But working and term loan is for purchasing machinery, not necessarily for purchasing machinery alone. It can be for purchase of land and other equipments as well. And it can be paid in equated monthly installments over a time period. That is the difference between the cash credit is given for working capital for short terms, while term loan is given for purchase of machinery, etc., and is given for long term. That is the and cash credit, of course, Hitesh is also right, is repayable on demand, whereas a term loan is repayable in equated monthly installments. So that is the difference between a cash credit and a term loan. Somebody has said, Rahul has said, a term loan is a monetary loan that is repaid in regular installments, lasts between 1 and 10 years. All that is fine. We don't, I mean, I'm not here to discuss of the textbook definition of a cash credit and a term loan. I just wanted a layman's answer. What is the difference? Sachindra is asking, what is mechanization in banks? Please elaborate. Sachindra, the answer is very simple. Whatever today you see in bank is all mechanization. Earlier, for example, I told you if you were a part of my introductory remarks, I used to work as an officer in an associate bank of State Bank of India, and at that time there were no computers. Everything was done manually. Everything was done manually to the extent that each and every entry had to be written down with pen and ink, and that was every day the balances had to be tallied manually. Every day the day book had to be tallied manually, and so on. And that has completely changed now. As Ambud says, it is entirely digitalized. The entire operations of a bank now are mechanized completely. You don't see anybody with a pen and paper in a bank today. It's all on the computers. It's all on the ATM. Of course, Rahul, is one of the ways in which a bank has been mechanized. But more importantly, the entire functions of a bank has been completely mechanized, from the front office to the back office to the customer service to the regional offices and zonal offices and so on. As Hitesh rightly said, it is the adoption of technology. Now we move on. What is the difference between leasing and hire purchase? Again, this question has been answered by me in my video sessions. Video session on banking operations, on loans. At that time, a difference between leasing and hire purchase. We have heard of the term leasing. Sir, an offbeat question, Anshul Agarwal. What is CASA in banking reference? CASA is nothing but current account and savings bank account. Current account and savings bank account is called CASA. Yes. Now let's come back to this question. What is the difference between leasing and hire purchase? Who wants to guess? Nayan, could you guess what is the difference between leasing and hire purchase? Rishika Menon says leasing is for a long period of time and almost covers the entire cost of loan. What is then hire purchase? Rishika, you have not explained what is hire purchase then. What is the difference between leasing and hire purchase? Let's get out of the subject of current and savings bank account. We have already answered that question from somebody asked what is CASA. I have answered that question. You are all right, current and savings bank account. Lease, not for purchase, hire purchase, whereby capital, whereby equal installment. Oh my God, why are we jumping questions? Rahul, please don't go to the next question already. We are still on the question of leasing and hire purchase. Leasing involves down payment and payment of installments and interest. What about hire purchase? Rishika, you have not answered the question on hire purchase. I think none of you are able to guess what is the answer for the hire purchase. Is conditional sale with an option to buy back again. No. There is no option to buy back in the case of a hire purchase. If the hire purchase, if the EMI is not paid, The financial simply seizes the assets. That's about it. There's no question of an option to buy back. Hire purchase, to purchase anything in installment. Then what about leasing? I want somebody to explain to me what is the difference between leasing and hire purchase. Hire purchase is given on installment. Lease is for long term. Short-term lease is also available, Sachin. Short-term lease is also available. Shamila says, in hire purchase, the title of the goods passes to the purchaser only on the payment of the last installments. Palash says, lease agreements are done for longer duration and bigger assets like land. Hire purchase agreements are shorter duration and cheaper assets like hiring a car and machinery, etc. Well, some of you are trying to be somewhere close to the point, but none of you are exactly to the point. If you had watched my video carefully, the definition of leasing and hire purchase is defined by the passing of ownership and possession of the goods which has been bought either on lease or on hire purchase. The difference in leasing, the ownership of the asset remains with the lessor, whereas in hire purchase, the ownership is with the borrower. I hope leasing only possession is transferred. Okay. The ownership of the asset is what is the important thing. In leasing, the ownership of the asset remains with the lessor, whereas in hire purchase, the ownership remains with the borrower. Supposing I take a car loan from a bank, then the car loan, the registration of the car is not done in the bank's name. It is done in my name. The ownership of the car will be in GVK's name, whereas in a lease, the ownership of the car will be with the bank and I have to pay lease rentals, what are called lease rentals, and in the case of hire purchase, it is equated monthly installments. That is the difference between lease and hire purchase. We now go to the next question. When was the PMLA enacted? PMLA stands for Prevention of Money Laundering Act. When was it enacted? The Prevention of Money Laundering Act is a hot topic of discussion in the recent times, because there have been many cases of hawala transactions and transactions involving black money, exchange of money from. Exactly, Anbul, you're right. Prevention of money laundering. Rishika, I just explained what is PMLA. PMLA is Prevention of Money Laundering Act. The answer is 2002. Harshit, Hitesh, Anshul, all of you are right. Prevention of Money Laundering Act was passed in the year 2002. Now, the next question is a very, very simple one. What is the maximum number of nominees allowed in a bank account? What is the maximum number of nominees allowed in a bank account? It's a very, very easy question. I'm sure all of you have gone through the sessions on nomination. The rules of nomination, incidentally, are the same for any kind of transaction, not necessarily bank. It is true for everybody. Valan Kumar says 2. 2 is not the right answer. Somebody, Chetan, also says 2 is not the right answer, but I'm glad almost all. Alex has said 2. Again, Alex, you're not right. 2 is not the right answer, but I'm glad that a lot of people like Arpita, Sagar, and all have rightly said. Dinesh has rightly said. Sachin has rightly said. Oh, Rahul says only 1 nominee. No, there are maximum allowed is 3. 3 nominees can be there for a single account. 5 is wrong, Aniruddha. 5 is not the right answer. Harshit, 4 is not the right answer. The correct answer is only 3. Maximum number of nominees that are allowed is only 3. We now go to the next question. As of April 2017, how many ATMs were there in India? The question should be were there and not are there. As of April 2017, this date is very important because on the 1st of April 2017, the associate banks of SBI were merged with the State Bank of India. So at that time, we got to know the exact number of ATMs which the associate banks and SBI together had, and also the total number of ATMs in the country. What is the number of ATMs? How many ATMs are there? 65,000. I'm sorry, Balaji, it's much, much more than that. 65,000 is not the right answer. I'm just waiting for somebody else to answer this question. Tanya is very honest. She says no idea. Great. Again, there was a presentation from me on video presentation on ATM. Same here as Tanya says, Rishika. I'm glad the ladies have accepted that they have no idea at all. Anshu close, no. TTM says 1,20,000. Nayan says don't know. This was there all over the papers. All over the papers, it was there, and it was there in the video which I presented on ATMs. It was there all over the papers when the nationalization of the merger of associate banks was taken. Hitesh is somewhat right. She says Mukesh Kumar 3. He's still a nomination. 1,02,043. Oh God. Tungala Pratibha says no idea. 300 Sai says 21,000. Kunal Gohani says no idea. I'm just going to wait for another 2 seconds for somebody else to come up with an answer. I'm going to start counting 1 and 2. Now the answer is 2,48,000 ATMs are there all over India. As of April 2017, 2,48,000 ATMs are there all over India. Somebody said 124 is exactly double that number, 2,48,000. Ram said 1,24,000. The answer is exactly double that number. 2,48,000 ATMs are there in the country, all over India, out of which State Bank of India alone has got roughly 25% of that. They have got 59,000 ATMs all over the country after the merger. After the merger of associate banks, State Bank of India alone have got 59,000 ATMs across the length and breadth of the country. That's roughly 25% of the total ATMs in the country. This again is a very simple question. We have talked about the merger of associate banks with State Bank of India. This question says, post-merger, what is the position of SBI in terms of the number of branches? In terms of number of branches, I'm not asking in terms of asset size. What is the position of SBI in terms of number of branches? Top 50 in the world, Rishika, is by assets. Tanya is right. It is the fourth in the world. Fourth in the world. That is the right answer. Tanya and Rudra, Aditya, Hitesh, all of you are right. Pooja Singh is number 1 in India. That's obvious. State Bank of India is by far the largest bank in India. I'm asking the number of branches in the world. That is 4th largest in the world. Anita Cruz is also right. Gautam is, I think, taking a wild guess by saying 33. And Vignesh has been very ambitious. He says number 1 in the world. No, it is not number 1. It is number 4 in the world. 4th largest in the world in terms of number of branches. And they have entered the top 50 in terms of the asset size. They have entered the top 50 in terms of the asset size. It's rather unfortunate that for a country of the size of India, which is the largest in the world, it is the OCBC, Overseas China Banking Corporation. OCBC. It is not HSBC, it is OCBC. OCBC has got the highest number of branches. Pavani Community says 24,000 branches. No, State Bank of India has now got approximately about 26,000 branches in the country. The next question is, what is the relationship between a depositor and the bank? Depositor and the bank. What is the relationship? What is the relationship between the depositor and the bank? Always China tops. Yes, China has been topping us, India always, but the good thing is that India is a faster growing economy than China as of last year. Can be a debtor and creditor a huge and important descriptive essay for it? Debtor and creditor. Debtor to creditor, says Kunal Golhani. Shamila says debtor to creditor. Anybody else wants to take any other guess? The answer is indeed right. The answer, the relationship between a depositor and a bank is that of a debtor and creditor. In fact, it's that of a creditor and debtor. The depositor is a creditor and the bank is a debtor. Bank owes money to the bank owes money a bank owes money to the public, to the depositor. So it is not pledger and pledgee, sir. Bank, when we deposit money with the bank, we don't pledge our money to them. We deposit the money to them. But in the video, it is mentioned that SBI has 17,000 branches. I do not know which video you're referring to. And SBI by itself had about 12,000 branches prior to the merger. And now with the merger of all the associate banks, is close to 27,000 branches. So now the answer for this question on relationship between depositor and the credit and depositor and the bank is that of a creditor and a debtor. So receiver is the debtor and giver is the creditor. You're right. You're right. So that to that extent, the bank is receiving money, and so the bank is the debtor, and the depositor is giving money. So it is the creditor. TTM, the video on banks, I will refer to that again. And if it is 17,000, I stand corrected. It is not 17,000. Banks can also provide a loan, so customer can also be a debtor. Of course, yes. That is why in this case, I asked what is the relationship between a depositor and a bank. In the case of a borrower, then he becomes the debtor and the bank is the creditor. Whereas customer can also be a debtor, no doubt. When he borrows money from the bank, he becomes the debtor, the bank becomes the creditor. But we are talking of the depositor here. The question is very clear. What is the relationship between a depositor and the bank? So the depositor is the creditor and the bank is the debtor. In the case of borrowing, then the borrower becomes the debtor and the bank becomes the creditor. So thus far we have discussed a few questions on banking. I would like now to pause for a few minutes to answer questions from you. Whatever questions you can ask me, anything related to banking or anything under the sun, you can ask me and I'll be able to gladly answer that. Before we go on to this important question sessions, because there are the questions that can be asked can be from anybody, can be from everywhere. So these 30 questions need not be only the questions which are important. There could be anything else. Nayan is asking fiscal deficit. What is it that exactly do you want to know in fiscal deficit, Nayan? If you can elaborate, I'll be able to answer your question. Basel norm, okay. What is CL? I'm sorry, if there are too many questions coming in, I will have to restrict MCLR. What is budgetary deficit? Budgetary deficit is nothing but the fiscal deficit. It is the difference between the projected income and the projected expenditure. Difference between the projected income and the projected expenditure. That is called the budgeted deficit. And you will find that in every oh my God, somebody has answered in Tamil. Nidhi Patrakure is fiscal deficit. Yes, you're right. Nidhi Patrakure is indeed fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit is nothing but the difference between the income and the expenditure of the country. Where the income is less than the expenditure, then it leads to a situation of fiscal deficit. Deficit is that is called a fiscal deficit. Mukesh is asking what is MIBOR. MIBOR is nothing but Mumbai interbank rates. Mumbai interbank rates is called MIBOR. Basel norm is the norms introduced in the city of Basel in Switzerland, whereby each bank was asked to provide a certain amount of capital adequacy. LIBOR is London interbank bank rate, right? So coming back to Basel norms are the norms for the capital adequacy of banks. Every bank in the world has to maintain a certain amount of capital on its own, so that in the case of a run, they will be able to meet the depositors out of their own money to some extent. That is called the Basel norms. And the capital adequacy prescribed has been divided into three parts: Tier 1 capital, Tier 2 capital, and Tier 3 capital. Tier 1 capital means that it is from the bank's own money or the promoter's own funds. Tier 2 capital consists of equity shares taken from the public, and Tier 3 capital consists of debt instruments taken from the public. That's the kind of the way the capital adequacy norms have been prescribed. And India has been very strict in enforcing these capital adequacy norms as per the Basel norms. Basel Conference in Switzerland was the origin of all these Basel norms. What is PMLA? PMLA is nothing but Prevention of Money Laundering Act. There was a situation where a lot of money was being routed into the country through unorganized means, through unorganized sources, commonly known as Hawala. And in order to control this, then the banks, then the RBI devised a system called the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Can a bank become bankrupt? And if so, what happens to the money of general public? In theory, a bank can become bankrupt. Anshul Agarwal, the answer to your question is, in theory, the bank can become bankrupt. If so, what happens to the money of the general public? Obviously, the money would be recovered to the extent of 1 lakh by the DICGCI. The guarantee is always there. And it is there other than 1 lakh. If the bank goes bankrupt, then the depositor's money is obviously lost. But I said it is in theory. It is in theory and not in practice, because in practice, a bank can never go bust, because there is always a question of rotation of money. Why I'm saying in theory it can go bankrupt is because a bank's deposits are always far in excess of the bank's lending. Because when a bank accepts 100 rupees as deposit, it cannot lend the entire 100 rupees as loans. You have got what is known as a CRR and SLR. And so when CRR and SLR are there, which means that 20.5 and 4%, 24.5, that means 75.5 rupees only is available for lending. Whereas you have got a deposit of 100 rupees, you have an issue of, you have advances of only 75 rupees. The two will never match. The two will never match. And so that is the reason why banks are always advised to keep their own this thing. And that is the reason why we have this aspect of the various enactments being taken into place. Can payment banks issue loans and credit cards? No, they cannot. They cannot issue loans and take credit cards, because they can only accept deposits and give small loans like gold loans and secured loans. Please explain Hawala. Oh my God, Hawala is a very illegal activity which is being carried out in the country, and it is better that we don't discuss it in this thing, because Hawala is a means of transferring money illegally from one country to another, not through the banking channels, but through private channels. That is called Hawala. What is meant by banker? Why RBI is called Bankers Bank? Why RBI is called Bankers Bank, Sachindra is asking, is because bankers, RBI is the lender of last resort. Whenever bankers need money, they can either borrow from fellow banks or from the RBI. RBI is the lender of the last resort. That is what is called, the banker is the, that is what is called, that is why RBI is called the banker to the last resort. Sir, please explain NRO and NRE accounts and bank rate also. NRO is non-resident ordinary account and NRE is non-resident external account. NRO can be opened by a person who has gone abroad and stays abroad for a period not exceeding 180 days time. Supposing I go either for tourism or for education purposes or for employment, but I come back within 180 days, then I can open NRO account. On the other hand, NRE account is opened by people who have been abroad for more than 180 days time and they want to transfer money from abroad to India. They can take the NRE route. And bank rate is the rate at which the Reserve Bank of India sets as a base rate for lending by banks. That is called the bank rate system. Sir, please explain about mutual funds, asked Shamila. Shamila, if you had listened to my introductory remarks, I had served mutual funds for 16 long years. So if I were to explain mutual funds, this 2 hour current 2 hour live session is just not enough. Mutual funds is an ocean. But if you want to answer me, if you want me to answer your question on in a very simple manner, mutual funds are collective investment vehicles. Collective investment vehicles where people with a common investment objective come together and put money in a scheme, and they give money to a fund manager who manages the funds on behalf of the various investors and gives back the returns from the market to the various investors. The mutual funds are the best form of investments available in India today. They are they give you risk-adjusted market risk-adjusted market rates of returns. And mutual funds is such a vast subject that I've actually taken 4 videos to explain what is mutual funds. Please go through my videos, part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4 on mutual funds. They have been uploaded already. Then you'll be able to know more about mutual funds. Tungala says, please explain commercial paper. Commercial paper is a part of a working capital of a corporation. Supposing the working capital limit of a company is about 100 crores, and the bank has so far lent only 70 crores. The remaining 30 crores can be taken by the company by issuance of what is known as a commercial paper. Commercial paper is nothing but an offer of a loan by the borrower. He says, I'm ready to borrow from you at such and such an interest rate, and that is called the commercial paper. Explain monetary policy and function. Monetary policy is a policy by which the money supply in the country is controlled, and its function is to ensure money stability. Alex is asking what are the causes of inflation and deflation. Inflation is caused by rising prices. Deflation is caused by decrease in prices. Difference between UPI and BEAM, both are basically digital payments of digital interfaces of payment. As such, there is not much of difference between the two. What is the difference between bearer check and order check, is asking Sushant. Bearer check is an open check which is payable to anybody who is in possession of that check, and order check is payable to the particular person or is order only. And what is meant by specified notes, bank notes cessation of liabilities ordinance of 2016 is asking Sushant. Sushant is asking that question. It's a very good question. As you all know, in November 2016, the 500 rupee and 1000 rupee notes were demonetized by the government of India by an announced by the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, at 8:30 p.m. on the 8th of November 2016. And since then, there was a time limit given to the residents of this country to exchange those demonetized notes with that of the new notes. You can go and exchange it in a bank or with the RBI offices, or you can actually deposit them into your bank account. So when you go and deposit into your bank account, they are accepted as a legal tender. But then there was a time limit for that. The first time limit was set as 30th of December 2016, and then there was a small window available for people who had less than 10 notes and all that. But ever since the 1st of April 2017, it has become illegal to hold the stocks of the demonetized 500 and 1000 rupee notes. So it has become illegal. So what this ordinance, special banking notes cessation of liabilities ordinance of 2016 basically says is that the RBI shall not be responsible for payment of any money on these demonetized notes. That is why it is called the cessation of liabilities. If you look at a currency note, it says it's signed by the RBI governor, and it says that the RBI governor promised to pay the bearer the sum of rupees, either 100, 200, whatever, 100, 500, 1000, 2000, whatever it was. And so the ordinance which was passed in 2016 says that the RBI will not be liable for payment of these monies on these 500 and 1000 rupees demonetized notes anymore. That is the essence of that ordinance. And it has now become illegal to hold possession of the 500 rupee notes and 1000 rupee notes. TTM is asking, sir, what are the RBI standards for evaluation of banks? There are various parameters for evaluation of banks. TT.M 268. I do not know what is your full name. TT.M looks to be an acronym. But RBI has got various methods of evaluating banks' performance. The bank's performance is evaluated on credit deposit ratio. The bank's performance is evaluated on capital adequacy norms. The bank performance is evaluated on the basis of the amount of NPAs which they have, and the banks are evaluated on the basis of the HR policies they have, and so on. So Tushar is your name. Thanks, Tushar. I hope I was able to answer your question. Pooja Singh is asking for initial public offering. Initial public offering is nothing but offer of shares to the public for the first time. That is called IPO, or initial public offering. An IPO cannot be open for more than 15 days at a time, and the IPO is now called, Vigneshwari has answered the question on my behalf by saying initial public offering, and it is nothing but an initial offer of shares to the public. The IPO is offered at the time of the first issuance of shares, and it is that is called IPO. Shruti is asking what is ESOP. It is called employee stock operations. Employees are given a share in the share capital of the company, and that is why it's called the employee stock operations. That is called the IPO. That is called the IPO. Contingent liability. Somebody is asking, what is contingent liability? Contingent liability is a liability which is going to come in future. That is what contingent liability. Pravasi Kaushal Vikas Yojana is a scheme. Harshit is asking, is a scheme for the benefit of the NRIs. That's called the Pravasi Kaushal Yojana. A scheme has been formed by the government late in 2016, and that is for the NRIs. People are answering on my behalf. So I do not know. I'm sure. Sir, please explain various types of ATMs. Different types of ATMs. There are two types of ATMs basically. One is called a white label ATM, and the other is called a brown label ATM. White label ATMs are owned and operated by the banks themselves. Brown label ATMs are owned by the banks but operated by some others. Rishika is asking, sir, if a bank person becomes bankrupt, is HASBA will be attached or the shares be allotted to him? First of all, a bankrupt person cannot apply for shares at all. Cannot apply for shares at all. First, one condition is that the person to apply for a share must not be a bankrupt or an insolvent. So that is the basic answer to your question, Rishika. I hope the answer was satisfactory. Sarfasi, somebody has given the right answer. Brown label, white label, yes. How devaluation of currency takes place? Devaluation of currency takes place when the currency is losing its steam in the exchange market. And so in order to prop up the currency is devalued so that the currency becomes at least some kind of equilibrium is established. KYC norms and Basel norms, please differentiate. KYC norms is called the Know Your Customer norms. That is for the banks knowing about their customers, and Basel norms are for capital adequacy for banks, which has been fixed by the Reserve Bank of India as per the Basel conference held in Switzerland. Ambu Sharma is asking, what is the difference between bankruptcy and insolvency? The basic difference is that in case of a bankruptcy, the person is unable to repay loans on the stipulated time, even though he might be having certain assets with him. On the other hand, the insolvency means he's absolutely not solvent. His liabilities are far more than his assets. That is called insolvency. Whereas in the case of a bankruptcy, he has no assets at all. He has no assets at all. What is USSD and what is DD? I'm sorry, Sushant, I do not get your question at all. What is USSD and what is DD? A foreign bank is a bank which has headquarters outside India. Outside in India. How can be outside and India? Rishika is asking difference between marginal standing facility and liquidity adjustment facility. Marginal standing facility is given by RBI as a lender of last resort. When the banks are about to default on their loans, the marginal standing facility comes. Liquidity adjustment facility, on the other hand, is based out of the SLR and CRR. They draw into the SLR and CRR reserves. That is called the liquidity adjustment facility. Anshul is asking, can a foreign-owned bank function in India? Yes, of course. There are 43 foreign banks which have their operations in India. 43 of them, not one or two. Unstructured supplementary service data, sometimes referred to as quick codes. Well, what has that got to do with banking? I'm sorry, I'm unable to fathom your question. Yes, Rudra, you're right. That is related to mobile and not to banking. Cash reserves, deposit reserves, excess reserves, and momentary reserves. Atish is asking me to explain these. Cash reserves are nothing but the amount of cash on hand. Deposit reserves are those which are held in the form of deposits. I forgot the other two he had asked for. Let me go back and scroll back and find out what he had asked for. Yeah, cash reserves are the amount of cash which the person has got, a person or organization has got in the form of cash. Deposit reserves are those which are in the form of deposits. Excess reserves, obviously, there's nothing called an excess reserve. Anything in reserve is a reserve. That means whatever in excess, whatever is there in excess is called an excess reserve. And momentary reserves are those which are momentary that they may not last long. Divya Badri is asking who issues treasury bills. Obviously, the Reserve Bank of India issues treasury bills. The Reserve Bank of India issues the treasury bills on behalf of the Government of India. Mukesh Kumar is asking how many nationalized NACs. I believe he's asking about banks and not NACs. There are 21 nationalized banks in India now, which is 19 nationalized banks as of 1969. 20th is the State Bank of India, which has been now consisting of the associate banks and the Bharatiya Magla Bank as well. And the 21st is the IDBI Bank. What is meant by drawing power? Drawing power is the amount of money available to a person to draw from his loan account. Hitesh, I will explain to you in the form of an example. If the limit is, let's say, a limit of a borrower is, let's say, 10 lakh rupees, and based on his stocks of goods and receivables, the value of his goods and receivables are, let's say, only 8 lakhs. And the margin stipulated is, let's say, 20%. Then the margin on 8 lakhs is 1.6 lakhs. That means he is eligible to draw only 8 lakhs minus 1.6 lakhs. That is 6.4 lakhs. And that 6.4 lakhs is called the drawing power. Drawing power will at no time be higher than the limit, but in many cases, it can be lesser than the limit as well. That is what is called as drawing power. Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, and how is this Yojana associated with black money? In no way is it associated with black money, Harshit. It is a scheme announced by the present government for implementing welfare schemes for the poor people. So there is nothing to do with the black money at all. Tunga Pratibha is asking benefits of SBI merger. Please explain, Sir G. Well, Tunga, on the 1st of April 2017, I had gone live on Facebook explaining the benefits of the SBI merger and the benefits for the customer, benefits for the employees, benefits for State Bank of India, and the benefits for the associate banks. Very briefly, I'll recall that video. And I mean, if you are on Facebook, you can go into the Facebook page of Talent Sprint. You will still find that video. That was explained on the 1st of April 2017, actually on the day when the merger happened. But to explain briefly, for the customers, it does not make much difference whether they have an account with State Bank of Mysore or with State Bank of India. I personally don't see much of a difference or a benefit for the customer of State Bank of Mysore, except that perhaps he can proudly say that I happen to bank with one of the top 50 banks of the world. That is as far as the customer is concerned. Benefits for the State Bank of India, yes, there are a lot of perceived and actual benefits for State Bank of India, because the bank has vaulted from being and also ran bank to amongst the top 50 in the world in terms of assets, and it has become the 4th largest bank in the world in terms of the number of branches. So for State Bank of India, it's a huge ramp up in size. They have got now about approximately 40 crore bank accounts, which is the largest in India. Their size has been ramped up further. So there's a lot of benefit for State Bank of India. They have got 25% of the ATMs in the country, and they have got roughly 20% of the total bank credit which has been given in the country. So in terms of benefits, the largest benefits accrue to State Bank of India because they have become a very, very big bank now. And as far as the customer is concerned, I don't see much of a difference. And as far as the employees are concerned, it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag because the employees of the associate banks can be very proud that they have become employees of State Bank of India now. But at the same time, there's a lot of cultural difference between a State Bank of Mysore and a State Bank of India. I'm talking State Bank of Mysore because I used to work for that bank for a long period, and I've got a lot of sense of loyalty towards that bank. I have a huge amount of loyalty towards State Bank of Mysore. But anyway, that's not the point in discussion now. The point in discussion is that for the employees, there is a huge amount of cultural difference between working for State Bank of Mysore and working for State Bank of India. If the employees are to be believed, a section of the employees is not obviously very happy with this development because their promotions and their increments might get deferred because there's going to be huge competition. State Bank of Mysore might have had approximately 20,000 employees. Now State Bank of India has got 2,77,000 employees. So promotions at every stage is going to be delayed. But on the flip side of it is that with the size of the bank becoming larger and larger, there's bound to be a greater amount of decentralization, which means that earlier when zonal offices were perhaps headed by a person of a rank of an assistant general manager, the new zonal offices could be perhaps headed by a person of the rank of a chief general manager, which means opportunities for promotions can actually go up. So there are flip sides, there are bad sides, there are good sides, but the benefits, as I see it, are more for State Bank of India than for anybody else in this merger. I hope I have answered your question, Tungala. Anshul says, guys, as the time is left, let's move on to the general awareness section. Yes, of course. General awareness section, we can definitely go on to. I take the clue from Anshul and I go on to the next session, and that is on the general awareness. There are a lot of other questions on banking, but I'm going to skip all of them. Now we start with the first question on general awareness. What is the record opening partnership in one-day cricket and who set it? People who are interested in cricket would be able to answer this. This is a current affairs question. All the questions in this section, but incidentally, are based on my current affairs videos, which you see every week, and the daily current affairs, which I upload on our website every day. The questions are all from that. They're all taken from the important events that have happened in India and abroad in the last few months' time. So there is nothing which is out of syllabus here. So can anybody answer this question? What is the record opening wicket partnership in one-day cricket, and by whom was it set? Somebody's trying to Google or... Yes, TTM, I forgot your full name again, I'm sorry. It is Poonam and it is 320 runs by Deepti Sharma and Poonam Raut, 320 in women's cricket. That is the highest score in one-day international. I'm going to ask you a supplementary question. What was the previous record? What was the previous record and by whom was it set? I'm sorry, Tushar, I could not remember your name. I'm sorry, my apologies for that. Thank you, Tushar, you're right. The answer is right. It was set by Deepti Sharma and Poonam Raut against South Africa in May 2017. The number of runs scored was 320. That remains the record for one-day internationals for both men and women till now. But I'm asking you a supplementary question. By whom was the previous record set and what was the score? Australian women, don't remember the names? No, you're guessing. Sudesh Sharma, what is the margin in case of loans? I'm sorry, we have moved away from banking to general awareness. That's fantastic, Hitesh. You are really right on target. 286 was set by Upul Taranga and Sanath Jayasuriya against South Africa. That was the record for the best opening partnership in one-day cricket. When was the SAARC satellite launched by ISRO? Recently, if you remember, Ganguly and Dravid, incidentally, Prashant, Ganguly and Dravid set the highest partnership for any wicket. We are talking of the opening wicket. Opening wicket was set, as Tushar rightly said, it was by Upul Taranga and Sanath Jayasuriya. So when was the satellite launched by ISRO? Fantastic. Many of you have got the right answer. It is GSAT-9 on the 5th of May 2017. That's absolutely the right answer. The correct answer is 5th May 2017. Which Indian company has been named the Indian MNC of the year? Which Indian company has been named of? Yes, Tanya, it is on 5th. Yes, Deepak, it is on 5th of May 2017. We have moved on to the next question. Which company has been named as the Indian MNC of the year? Hero MotoCorp is the right answer. Rishika and Rudra Aditya Mohanty and Tanya as well. You're all right. Hero MotoCorp is the right answer. Deserve a big round of applause for that. This is a simple question. When is the International Labour Day celebrated? When is the international? Somebody said HLL. I'm sorry, HLL is not the right answer. Hero MotoCorp is the right answer. When is International Labour Day celebrated? It's the easiest question in the world. 1st of May, says Amrit. Yes, you are right. All of you have said 1st of May. 1st of May is indeed the right answer. It's also called the May Day. It's also called the May Day or the Labour Day or the International Labour Day. Just for information, the International Labour Day was announced to implement 8-hour working force. 8-hour working hour system. That was what is for International Labour Day. Before that, the working hours were not organized. People were asked to work for long hours, and so that was the day on which, that was the International Labour Day was formed to regulate the working hours, and they developed a system of 8-hour working day. Which is the first Indian state to shift the financial year from April to March to January to December? A lot of people have already given the answer. I do not know why you are shooting the gun by going to the next question when we are in the previous question itself. Don't worry, guys. We still have a lot of time. We will cover most of these questions. So the answer is right. It is Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh changed its financial year from January to December. Where was the second tallest flag post inaugurated, and what is its height? Where was the second tallest flag post inaugurated, and what is its height? There seems to be no answer coming in. Meanwhile, I'll go back to the question from Gayatri. Sir, did you retire in State Bank of Mysore? No, madam. I did not retire from State Bank of Mysore. I resigned. So I hope that clarifies your position. That clarifies your question. So I did not retire from the bank. I resigned. Okay, coming back to this question, where was the second tallest flag post inaugurated in India? Well, some people have answered rightly, and some others, in fact, Tanya has gone one step further. The right answer is in Kolhapur in Maharashtra. It is at a height of 303 meters. It's not 303 meters, madam. It is 303 feet. It is not 303 meters. 303 meters means it will be about 1,000 feet tall. The answer is 303 feet, not meters. And the tallest one is right. You are right. It is in Athari border with Pakistan, and that is 360 feet high. Tanya, please correct yourself. It is not 303 meters. It is 303 feet. And the highest flagpole is 360 meters. 360 feet in height. Everybody is saying 303 meters. It is not 303 meters, gentlemen and ladies. It is 303 feet. It is 303 feet and not 303 meters. Where is first tallest answer? Tanya has already answered the question. It's in the Atari border with Pakistan, the Atari border check post, and that is at a height of 360 feet. Yes. So that is the... Tanya, again, you have said 303 meters. It is not 303 meters. It is 303 feet. And the tallest one in the Atari border is 360 feet, not 360 meters. Please correct yourself. You don't have to feel sorry. Perhaps it was a typographical error. No problem. Harshit is feeling a little impatient. He's asking, next, sir. What next? Sorry, Harshit. Sorry to keep you waiting. Here I go with the next question. Where is the world's highest railway bridge coming up? Where is the world's highest railway bridge coming up? Where is the world's highest railway bridge coming up? Harshit, you are very impatient to go to the next question. Here is your next question for you. Where is the world's highest peak coming up? Jammu and Kashmir, Assam, Kashmir, J&K, Chenab. Somebody said Chenab. That's the right answer. The railway bridge is coming up across the Chenab River in Jammu and Kashmir at a height of 359 meters. That is taller than Eiffel Tower. Somebody said taller than Eiffel Tower. You are absolutely right. Thanks for watching my current affairs section very carefully, because I have covered all this in the current affairs section on my daily handout uploads, as well as the weekly video sessions which I have taken. So Chenab Bridge across in the Jammu and Kashmir is the right answer. A very interesting question. Which company has 2/3 of India's forex reserves as cash? Which company in the world has got 2/3 of India's forex reserves as cash? For your record, yes, all of you are right. Sure, sir, YouTube videos are useful. Yes, thank you very much. I'm glad that you found them useful. All of you are right. Apple is the right answer. Apple, with a cash reserve of $276 billion, has got 2/3 of India's foreign exchange reserves. India's foreign exchange reserves are about $371 million. Somebody was asking, what is the meaning of this question? Anshul Agarwal is asking, what is the meaning of this question? The meaning of this question is that one company in the world has got 2/3 of India's forex reserve as its cash reserve. Apple has got a cash reserve of $256 billion. Gayatri, I think I've already answered your question. Did you retire from State Bank of Mysore? No, I did not retire. I resigned from the bank. So that answers your question. So now, that Tungala is saying no resign. Thanks, Tungala, for answering on my behalf. Now, coming back to Apple. Apple, as you know, is a technological giant, and it has got a cash reserve. Cash reserve meaning amount of reserves in cash or cash assets. Please do not jump questions. I request Rishika, Tanya, and everybody else. Soumya, if you're feeling impatient, please excuse me. I've got a duty to perform. I cannot be rushing through questions. Please do not jump questions. Let us wait for the questions to come. Then we will answer them. Please, I request your patience. I request your forbearance with me. So Apple, somebody has asked the question, what is the meaning of this question? Which company has 2/3? That's why I'm trying to answer him to the best of my ability. So please don't jump questions. So I'm coming back. Apple with the cash reserve. Cash reserve is nothing but the amount of reserves it has got, the surplus amount of money it has got in its cash and other liquid assets. That is called the cash reserve. And forex is nothing but the foreign currency reserves of the country. So India has got a forex reserve of about Amrit, please do not jump questions. I request all of you to be patient with me. Please do not jump questions. So the forex reserves of India as of the last week was about $370 billion US. So Apple does not have $800 billion as cash reserve. It has got only $276 question. Yes, Ambuj, I'll take your suggestion. The next time around, there will be only one question in one PPT. I agree. I agree with you, and that's why people are jumping questions. I take your suggestion. It will be implemented from the next live session onwards. That's right. Thanks, Vignesh, for the suggestion. Thanks, Ayush. I agree with you. I will have it corrected next time around. Thanks, Tungala, again. So which city has got its own Microsoft font? Almost all of you have answered that question rightly. It is Dubai. Which city has been rated the cleanest in India? According to the Swachh Bharat mission, which city has been rated the cleanest in India? Which city has been rated the cleanest in India? The answer is Indore. The answer is right. All of you are right. I do not know what is meant by MP. Somebody said MP. Mysore is now slipped to the third rank, my dear friend. Mysore has slipped to the third rank. Indore, a lot of you people are saying still Mysore, but Mysore was ranked the cleanest city in India, but now Mysore is ranked in fact, it has gone to the sixth position. Yes, you are right. And sixth position is in Mysore. Mysore is in the sixth position. Indore has been ranked the cleanest city in India. What is India's current ranking in football as per FIFA rankings? What is India's current ranking in football as per FIFA? FIFA is the Federation of Football Association of the world. Well, Rahul, let's not talk of the dirtiest city. It is Gonda. I don't disagree with you. But then it is Gonda, I agree. But then let's not talk of the dirtiest city. We're talking of the cleanest city. Well, what is India's current ranking in football? A lot of you have answered absolutely spot on. It is 100. Now, can any of you tell me, is this the best ranking India has ever had in football, or what was the best ranking India has had in football in the world rankings? What was India's best ranking in football as per FIFA rankings? Can anybody tell me? Until it is not 50, it is 100. All of you are right. Is the 100 is the correct answer. But I'm asking a supplementary question to that now. Yes, 94 is the best ranking. Fantastic. Fantastic. Deepak and all others who answered. Tanya, 1994. Rishika, 1994. All of you are right. 94 is the best answer. That 94 is the best ranking which India had. Which actor won the first Generalist Award? Which actor won the first Generalist Award? Generalist Award is a new system of awarding people, and whereby it is not based on the gender of the person but on the performance alone. Fantastic, ladies and gentlemen, all of you are spot on. The answer is indeed Emma Watson. Emma Watson won the award for Beauty and the Beast, as Singala rightly said, and it is the first award ever announced for the film industry, the Genderless Award, where the performance is based not on the gender of the person, but I'm actually based on the I do not know what is that comment. Sir is joking. I do not know where I'm joking. This is pretty serious business, Gayatri, and I'm not joking anywhere. So I do not know what you mean by saying sir is joking. Emma Watson indeed won it for the Beauty and the Beast, and this is the first time it has been the awards have been announced based on the performance rather than the gender of the person. So the answer is indeed Emma Watson of United Kingdom. A very easy answer. This is a very latest question. Who is the youngest president of France? Who is the youngest president of France? Thanks, Tungala. Let's not deviate. I think you're right, Tungala, Gayatri. We should not be deviating from the subject matter on hand. Rishika Menon says Emmanuel. Somebody says Manuel, somebody says Emmanuel, somebody says Macron. Yes, the answer is indeed right. It is Emmanuel Macron. He is aged 39. He is aged 39. He is the youngest occupant of the Élysée Palace, which is the residence of the French president. and Emmanuel Macron defeated his right-wing candidate Pence by a huge margin, and so Emmanuel Macron is indeed the youngest president of France. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for that spot-on answer and a very fast answer as well. Who has taken the most number of wickets in women's one-day international cricket? Who has taken the most number of wickets in women's one-day international cricket? Philippe is not the answer, Rishika. Philippe is the Prime Minister of France. He is not the President of France. Yes, all of you are spot on right again to this question. Jhulan Goswami of India is indeed the right answer. She has taken 181 wickets in one-day internationals. In fact, after 181, she took 2 more. Right now, she stands at 183 wickets. All of you are absolutely spot on. It is not Julian Goswami, it is Jhulan Goswami of Bengal, and she has taken 181 wickets. That is the answer to your question. Somebody is asking how many wickets has she taken. Vigneshwari was asking how many wickets has she taken. She has taken 181 wickets. And she belongs to which state? The name is very obvious. She belongs to Bengal. Is she also the captain? No, the captain is Mithali Raj of Hyderabad. When is National Technology Day observed? When is National Technology Day observed? When is National Technology Day observed? Only one person, Ambud Sharma, has given the answer so far. And Ambud says it is May 11th. A lot of you are absolutely right. You have given the right answer. The answer is indeed the 11th of May. But somebody was saying it is because of India's first nuclear test. It is not just because of India's first nuclear test that happened in Pokhran, but it's also because the first indigenously made aircraft took off from HAL airport and in Bangalore. That is why the Technology Day was being announced on the 11th of May. The 11th of nuclear test is not the only answer, Jagannath. Other than that, you also had the Trishul test flight happening from HAL airport in Bangalore, the first indigenously manufactured aircraft. And yeah, it is Hansa 3. Hansa 3, that's right. So that is the answer for that question. 11th of May is indeed the right answer. Who has been appointed World Health Organization's brand ambassador for hepatitis B? A very simple question, and I'm sure all of you will know the answer very well. Who has been appointed the World Health Organization brand ambassador for hepatitis B? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, all of you are absolutely right. It is indeed Amitabh Bachchan. Let's not call him Big B. He deserves the respect of his name being given properly. It is Amitabh Bachchan who has been appointed as the brand ambassador of the World Health Organization for hepatitis B. Very, very current question which is indeed very current. What is the name of the virus which affected computers worldwide recently? What is the name of the computer virus which affected the computers worldwide recently? Ransom WannaCry is indeed the right answer. WannaCry ransom. I'm glad all of you gentlemen and ladies are very up to date on current affairs. I see a lot of answers from a lot of people on almost each and every question. That's indeed very great. When is Mother's Day celebrated? Very simple question. When is Mother's Day celebrated? Yes, let's move on. Let's not wanna cry anymore. Let's not. Second Sunday of May is not the right answer. The right answer is given by Sudesh and Nitish and Brunda and all that. The answer is the 14th of May. 14th of May is the celebrated as the Mother's Day. It is not the second Sunday of May or the second Saturday of April and so on and so forth. It is on 14th of May. Now this question is very interesting because this has undergone a change from the time I prepared this PowerPoint presentation. The question has actually undergone a slight change. The question is, who is the first Indian woman to scale Mount Everest 4 times? The question has undergone a change because after I prepared this PowerPoint presentation, she has actually scaled the Mount Everest for a 5th time. For a 5th time. Great. I really, yes, Vigneshwari, it is on the 14th of May every year. Okay, right. The answer is indeed Anshu, but you have got the surname not correct. The answer is indeed Anshu, and the answer is Anshu Jamsenpa. Anshu Jamsenpa from Arunachal Pradesh is indeed the right answer. I'm glad that all of you have got the first name right, Anshu. I'm saying it was, the answer is she has scaled Mount Everest 5 times, because between the time I prepared this presentation, which was last week, and now she scaled it for a 5th time, leaving a gap of only 7 days in between the 4th attempt and the 5th attempt. She is the first woman from India to have scaled Mount Everest, and she's the first woman in the world to scale Mount Everest 5 times now, not 4 times, 5 times. How many items have been notified in the GST bill? Well, Surya Prakash is answering. How to keep myself updated in current affairs? I'm very weak in front. What are the? I forgot your question. Let me go back to that. Any tip that I have to follow? From how many sources do I have to study current affairs? At the cost of being called immodest, Surya, I will only give you one tip. Just follow my current affairs updates. That's enough. You will be able to answer your bank questions very easily. Very easily, you'll be able to answer your bank questions. Don't get me wrong. I try to cover each and every aspect of the current affairs in my daily updates as well as in the weekly videos. Just keep a hot tab on that, and you can always learn about current affairs. And of course, personally speaking, I would say, in order to keep yourself abreast of the current affairs, the best way to do it is to read newspapers. They are the best source of information. Again, at the cost of being called immodest, I would say, I have to say this, and I'm proud to say this, that I'm now aged 60 plus, but I read 6 newspapers every single day. Every single day, I read 6 newspapers, and that is the best way of staying abreast with current affairs. You don't have to do anything else apart from watching my videos and following my handouts every day. You have to read newspapers. You'll be surprised at the number of newspapers I read. I said I read 6 newspapers, and I read the Hindu, the Times of India, the Economic Times, the Business Standard, Business Line, and of course the Tamil newspaper to know the local current affairs. So that is the best way of keeping myself up and up to date. So all of you will have to follow the same thing. Read newspapers, and follow my videos. Amrut is asking, is it enough to study only your videos? Well, it should be enough, but in case you're not so sure, read newspapers. That is the best part of it. Ambul Sharma, we are still having time, so please do not jump questions. Okay, the answer to the question, how many items have been notified in the GST bill? A lot of people have answered the question rightly. It is 1,211 items. 1,211 items have been notified in the GST bill so far. Banita is asking how much time it takes to read all newspaper. Well, it depends on what you want to read in them. What you want to read in them determines the time taken. As far as I'm concerned, personally, I take anywhere between 2 to 2.5 hours to read all the 6 newspapers that I just mentioned. Thanks for the compliment, Rahul. Thanks for the compliment, Monica, as well. Well, Anshul, I'm not the best. I'm trying to be one of the best. 1,211 is indeed the right answer. When were the associate banks merged with SBI? I don't think I should wait for an answer to this question because I'm sure all of you know the answer. It is the 1st of April 2017. Who is the first High Court judge to be sentenced? Yes, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, 1st of April is not the right answer. The 1st of April 2017 is the right answer. Don't leave out the year because that's a very important landmark event in the history of Indian banking. And if you leave out the year, then half the charm is lost. Who was the first High Court judge to be sentenced? Yes, all of you, most of you are right. Somebody has said Karnad, somebody has said Gupta. Gupta is not a High Court judge. He was sentenced yesterday. He was the Chief Secretary of the Coal Department. Justice Karnan of the Kolkata High Court is indeed the right answer. Justice Karnan of the Kolkata High Court is indeed the right answer. What is India's current sovereign rating? What is India's current sovereign rating? Justice Karnan for coal case is not the right answer. I do not know who said the answer. Justice Karnan was sentenced for contempt of court, not for coal. Okay. What is India's current sovereign rating? BBB minus is the right answer, and most of you have given it, although somebody has said BBB plus. No, BBB plus is not the right answer. BBB minus is not the worst rating, Tanya. Please understand, BBB minus is not the worst rating. BBB minus is the minimum investment grade rating. That is what is the importance of the rating. There are ratings less than BBB minus also. It is not the worst rating. It is the investment rating. Who gave this rating? The rating is given by the International Credit Rating Agency. It is given by the International Credit Rating Agency Standard & Poor. And this BBB minus rating was given by the International Credit Rating Agency Fitch. What is sovereign rating? The rating of a country in order to examine and find out what is the ability to repay the money. That is called sovereign rating. Sovereign rating. What are the ratings lower than BBB minus? This is BBB. You have got less than BBB minus are BB plus, BB, B, C, and D. Sovereign rating is the rating of a country based on its ability to repay the investments which it takes from people both within the country and abroad. That is called sovereign rating, the rating of a government of the country, not of individuals in the country, of the government of the country. Sovereign means a country, or the government of a country. What is the ability of the government to repay its money on time? And that is called the rating of the sovereign rating of the country. Is BBB minus a good ranking? Obviously, it is not a good ranking. The highest rating is AAA, whereas we have got BBB. And sovereign rating, somebody has Googled and put the answer here. So you please read that at your leisure. And this is what is known as the sovereign credit rating. Who put that? Vigneshwari. Thanks, Vigneshwari. Which country has become the first in the world to ban metal mining? Which country has become the first in the world to ban metal mining? It is not the lowest, Anil. It is the lowest for investment grade purposes. Yes, El something is not the answer. El Salvador is the right answer. Thank you so much, Rishika Tungala and all the others for having given the right answer. Thanks, Kunal. Thanks, Vigneshwari. Thanks, Tanya. Everybody is the right. Jeevan is right. El Salvador is the right answer. El Salvador is the correct answer for the question, which country became the first in the world to ban metal minings? Which is the longest tunnel bridge in the world? Which is the longest tunnel bridge in the world? Anybody wants to guess an answer? Which is the longest tunnel bridge in the world? I'll give you a clue. It is in India. Which is the longest tunnel bridge in the world? The clue is in India. J and K. Well, Chennai, J and K is a very general answer. J and K. No. That's not. Chenan Nishari is the right answer. Across the river Brahmaputra is the right answer. Chenani Nushri Tunnel in Jammu and Kashmir across the river Brahmaputra is the right answer. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for having given the answer. Yes, it's an all-weather road connecting Janani it is connecting Janani and Nashri. It is not Chenani, it's Chenani and Nashri. This was inaugurated by the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, in the month of April. And that is the longest tunnel bridge in the world, and the distance is 9.2 kilometers. It's an all-weather road. It reduces distance by about 31 kilometers. The tunnel bridge itself is about 9 kilometers long. Where was India's first biogas bus inaugurated? Where was India's first biogas bus inaugurated? Where was first India's biogas bus inaugurated? Somebody is saying Bengal, somebody is saying Kolkata. Bengal and Calcutta are vastly different. Yes, indeed, all of you are right. It is in Kolkata, West Bengal. Kolkata is the right answer. The bus was inaugurated in Calcutta, and the fares are as cheap as 1 rupee per kilometer. Calcutta, the city of joy, somebody had commented. Yes, indeed, Soumya, I agree with you. I'm a great lover of Calcutta. Soumya Banerjee, obviously you are from Calcutta, I guess. So Calcutta is indeed the city of joy, and it is indeed the city where the first biogas bus was inaugurated. I love Calcutta as a place, and I've been there many times. 1 rupee for 17 kilometers is the right answer. What is the maximum demand deposit that a payment bank can accept from a customer? What is the maximum amount of deposit that a payment bank can accept from a customer? Yes, Soumya, you belong to Calcutta. It's very obvious by your name. And regarding this question, yes, all of you are absolutely right. The answer is indeed 1 lakh. A payment bank cannot accept a deposit of more than 1 lakh from its customer. Which is the latest country to have officially recognized Bitcoin as official currency? Which is the latest currency? There is no minimum, please. There is no minimum. The maximum is 1 lakh. Okay, now moving on to the next question. Which is the latest country to have recognized Bitcoin as official currency? All of you are spot on. I'm so very glad that most of you are very, very up to date in current affairs. I can probably take a lot of pride for that, because you've been watching my videos and watching my current affairs uploads almost on a daily basis. The answer is indeed Japan. Japan is the latest country to recognize Bitcoin as an official currency. Which was the first country? Britain. Who is the latest MD and CEO of IDBI Bank? Who is the latest MD and CEO of IDBI Bank? Who is the latest CEO and MD of IDBI Bank? Kishore Karat is not the answer. Prashant, please do not jump questions. Mehta, Kishore Kumar, GM Yadwadkar. We are talking of the Managing Director and CEO. The answer is right, as a lot of you have said. It is Mahesh Kumar Jain. Mahesh Kumar Jain is the former MD and CEO of Indian Bank. He was moved from Indian Bank to IDBI Bank. And the MD and CEO of IDBI Bank, Kishore Karat, has been moved as the CMD and CEO of Indian Bank. Pratik, you're right. IDBI and Indian Bank swapped the chiefs, but I wanted the answer of the name of the person. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a digital currency. It's a digital currency being in circulation with very few people in the world, and it's prone to virus attacks, etc., now. So that is the short of Bitcoin. Who is the head of Indian Bank now? Kishore Karat is the head of Indian Bank. Which Indian cricketer was named the CEO of Gulf Oil for a day? For a day, who was named the CEO of Gulf Oil? Yes, indeed, all of you are absolutely right. Mr. Dhoni, MSD, he was indeed named the CEO of Gulf Oil for a day. So that completes my set of questions on current affairs. I have a few which are not, which we have not covered on the sections on banking. Maybe I will take a few questions from that. Since we have another 15 minutes of time, let us go back to the banking section and answer these questions. Yes, what is the difference between SB account and current accounts? What is the difference between SB accounts and current account? Can anybody answer? It's a very simple answer. Don't think two big things. It's very simple. What is the difference between SB and current accounts? Ladies and gentlemen, we are back to the banking section of this video, of this live session. So let's take our heads off MS Dhoni and go back to banking. Overdrafts, yes. TTM is right, and so is Anshul. Savings bank account pays interest, whereas current account does not pay interest. I asked for the main difference. Of course, transaction is limited in SB. There are no limit for current account. That is also one of the differences. But the main difference is that interest is not paid on current accounts, whereas interest is paid on SB accounts. Somebody said individuals are having SB account, companies are having current accounts. It is not so. Individuals can also have current accounts. Companies can also have SB accounts. What is meant by DPN? What is meant by DPN? I remember having written it on the webcam screen when I talked of demand loans. I've given you a clue already. What is meant by DPN? Yes, Hitesh, you are right. The answer is demand promissory note. DPN is nothing but a demand promissory note. Abhirami, as I explained to you, it is not necessary that individuals only should have SB, even companies can have. It's not necessary that only companies should have a current account, even individuals can have a current account. So DPN, the answer is demand promissory note. What is repo rate? Nitish, your answer is incomplete. Yes, DPN is indeed demand promissory notes. Demand promissory note is the right answer. What is repo rate? DPN is nothing but demand promissory note, which means that when the borrower takes a cash credit or a demand loan from a bank, he has to execute a promissory note which says that I, so and so, I, GVK, for example, promise to pay State Bank of India the sum of rupees 1,000 on demand. That is called a demand promissory note. Demand promissory note is nothing but a promissory note issued by, signed by a borrower for taking a loan from the bank, which is the loan should be repayable on demand. That is called the demand promissory note. Yes, coming back to this question, what is repo rate? Repo rate is Anshul Agarwal asking, is it the same as promissory note? Yes, it is the same as promissory note. The rate at which RBI lends to banks is called the repo rate. Yes, Atish, you're right. The rate RBI lends, Atish and a lot of others are right in the sense that the rate at which the banks borrow from RBI, or in other words, the rate at which the banks are lent by the rate at which RBI lends to the banks is called repo rate. What is reverse repo rate? No prizes for guessing this one. What is reverse repo rate? What is reverse repo rate? Repo rate is the rate at which the RBI lends money to the banks that we have seen. What is repo rate? Banks returns to RBI is called reverse repo rate. It is not banks returns to RBI. When the banks have excess liquidity, the RBI will take money from the banks to absorb their excess liquidity. And RBI is not a question of borrowing money from a bank for a short period. It is, on the other hand, it is RBI absorbs the excess liquidity. That is called the reverse repo rate. Reverse repo rate is the rate at which the RBI absorbs the liquidity from the banks by accepting money from them. RBI does not borrow money, it rather accepts money from the bank. What is the difference between CRR and SLR? What is the difference between CRR and SLR? Current rate of repo rate and reverse repo rate is 6.25% and the reverse repo rate is 6%. Okay. What is the difference between the CRR and SLR? I've already answered the question on what is current rate of repo and reverse repo rates. She says, I don't want the definition of CRR or the expansion of CRR and SLR. I want the difference between CRR and SLR. What is the difference between CRR and SLR? Or rather, I would rephrase the question slightly in a different way. What is the main difference between CRR and SLR? Okay, Pooja Singh, you're right. CRR is the minimum cash to be maintained in cash or bank deposit form. Roshni is also right. But you have not mentioned the difference. You're not mentioning the difference. All of you are only giving definitions of CRR and SLR, but nobody so far. Yes, Jagannath Panda, very big claps to you. Jagannath Panda is the right answer. The answer is that, where is Jagannath Panda's answer? It's already disappeared. I'm sorry. Somewhere I saw Jagannath Panda is the answer which is being given correctly. I'm not able to see that right now. Wait a minute. Yes, this is the right answer. Jagannath Panda, very big congratulations to you. A very big round of applause if I can. If only I can do it and you can hear it, it will be very good. CRR is maintained on a fortnightly average basis, whereas SLR is to be maintained on a daily basis. That is the difference between CRR and SLR. That's the main difference. Very well done, Jagannath Panda. Congratulations. What are the types of fiscal policy? What are the various types of fiscal policy? What are the various types of fiscal policy? What are the various types of fiscal policy? No idea, says Sachin. I do not know which question you are answering, whether you are answering the question on CRR and SLR or on the fiscal policy. I'll give you the answer for fiscal policy. It is expansionary, neutral, and contractionary. The fiscal policy of a country can be either expansionary, in which case the country wants the economy to grow. And that is why a lot of incentives and a lot of concessions and subsidies are given so that the economy of the country can grow. That is meant by expansionary policy. On the other hand, neutral policy is where the central bank of the country wants the economy of the country to stay in an ab initio condition or in as is where condition. That is called the neutral policy. And on the other hand, the contractionary policy is when the central bank feels that the economy is growing too fast and inflation is going too fast. There's a lot of unrest in the economy. Then they try to contract the economy by reducing the interest rates and so on and so forth. You will see it in my video on fiscal policy. And that is what are the three types of fiscal policy. What is meant by FEMA? We have seen it in the video on, well, I will give you a clues about foreign exchange. What is meant by FEMA? FEMA. What is meant by FEMA? The sad smiley coming from Selvi. Foreign Exchange Management Act is indeed the right answer. This act was passed in 1999, Sachin, not 1998. Foreign Exchange Management Act was passed in 1999. Yes, Anshul, you're right. It was passed in 1999, and it serves to control and regulate the movement of foreign exchange within and from and to India. That is called the FEMA. What is the expansion of SWIFT? What is the expansion of SWIFT? I'll give you 10 seconds to answer this question. Tanya has already come out with the right answer. It's Society for Worldwide International Financial Telecommunications. That is the answer for SWIFT. What is meant by RTGS? Yes, Anantu, you're right. Soumya is also right. What is meant by RTGS? Real-time gross settlement is indeed the right answer. Real-time gross settlement is the correct answer. What is NEFT? NEFT, real-time gross settlement, is indeed the right answer. We have moved on to the question. Next question, what is NEFT? What is NEFT? I want somebody to answer that question on what is NEFT. NEFT stands for National Electronic Fund Transfer. National Electronic Fund Transfer. Shamila was the first person to answer it rightly. Congrats, Shamila. NEFT is for amounts below 2 lakhs, and RTGS is for amount above, below 1 lakh, and RTGS is for amounts above 1 lakh only. Less than 1 lakh, you can't transfer by RTGS. What does AMFI stand for? Association of Mutual Funds in India. The answer is very simple. Association of Mutual Funds in India. If you have watched my 4 videos on mutual funds, you will not be left with any doubt on regarding mutual funds. What is the 3-tier structure of mutual funds? Can anybody answer this question? What is the 3-tier? Yes, Kunal, the Association of Mutual Funds is the right answer. What is the right answer for the answer question? What is the 3-tier structure of mutual funds? What is the 3-tier structure of mutual funds? Ten seconds to answer. The countdown starts now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The 3-tier structure of mutual funds is the sponsor, the trustee, and the asset management company. You watch my videos on mutual funds, you will understand what is a short term, who's a sponsor, you will understand what is a trust, and you will also understand what is an asset management company. We are running, finally, we are running short of time, so I would not like to taste too much time on this. What is meant by IRDAI? IRDAI. What is IRDAI? The answer is Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India. They regulate all insurance companies in India, both life insurance and general insurance company. Insurance Development and Regulatory Development Authority of India. Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India is the right answer. What are the two main types of insurance? Very, very simple question. What are the two main types of insurance? The headquarters of IRDAI is in Hyderabad. Yes, Tanya, life and general are the two types of insurance which you are talking about. And the final question, who controls mutual funds in India? Who controls mutual funds in India? We have seen this question on capital market regulators. Who are the capital market and financial regulators? We have indeed seen, yes, indeed, a lot of you are right. SEBI controls mutual funds in India. That is the answer. The Securities Exchange Board of India, or SEBI, controls the activities of the mutual funds in India. So that is all we have. I have for you in terms of questions, because we're running short of time. It's already 8 o'clock, and so we stop at this. And so I hope you enjoyed this live session. I really enjoyed talking to you. I really enjoyed interacting with you. And headquarters of SEBI is in Mumbai, Alex. So thank you very much for all of you for having joined me on this live session. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you found it educative. I hope you found it informative. I hope you found it very, very educative. It's my pleasure. To talk to each one of you. Although I have not seen your faces, but it's indeed a pleasure to talk to you. Name of the newspaper to read, I would suggest that you read the Hindu, the Economic Times, the Times of India, Business Line, and Business Standard. Any one or two of them at least. Thank you so much, everybody. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Recommend a newspaper. I already told you. You can read Business Line and Business Standards in Economic Times as far as business news is concerned. Please give tips for static GK. You can refer to any of the newspapers or watch my uploads on Daily Current Affairs. Thank you so much, everybody. It was a pleasure talking to you. And until I see you in the next time around with another live session, it's bye from GVK or G Venkatakrishnan. It's bye from me for now. And thank you. And until I see you in the next time around, thanks and bye. And thanks for coming on to this live session. Thank you very much.